95% of condos in Toronto sold below asking last month. So let that sink in. 95%. That's not a housing market. That's a clearance sale, and the panic is real. It's not just a few overpriced listings. No, it's not. We're talking about a systematic pullback across nearly every condo building in the city. And while the headlines are patting themselves on the back with quotes like sales are up or stability is returning, they're cherry picking. They're not talking to you about how long units are sitting, or how much deeper investors are digging to cover negative cash flow, or how developers are desperately trying to clear the decks with quiet incentives. This segment isn't for the hype crowd. It's for people who actually want to understand what's going underneath the hood of Toronto's condo market. So let's get into it. And trust me, by the end of this, you will see why the second quarter of this year could be the most revealing quarter yet. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Claudia. I'm one of the Ragona sisters, and today we're cutting through all the media noise. And if you're thinking, but wait, I thought we were recovering, I hear you. In the second quarter, detached homes in the suburbs are showing a little life. Thank God. But condos, that's a completely different beast, especially here in Toronto. They're telling a completely different story. So if you've got a condo, and if you're thinking of buying one, or if you're wondering whether this is all just media spin, just stay with me. You're about to get the full picture. So let's start with what the numbers are actually telling us. In the second quarter of this year, we had 4,413 condo sales across the GTA. That's a 21% drop from last year. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Claudia, sales are seasonal. Isn't the summer months always slower? Yes, it is, but context is everything. So when you zoom out, this isn't just a slow summer. It's one of the worst second quarters in nearly a decade. We're not just behind 2021 pandemic boom, we're behind 2018, 2017, and even some pre-COVID years that didn't benefit from stimulus or low interest rates. This is what I call a false flat. From month to month, it looks stable, but if you step back, it's a clear multi-year decline. Now let's talk prices. Across the GTA, the average condo price is now sitting a little bit over $685,000, and that's down almost 6% from this time last year. In Toronto, it's down even more, anywhere from $765,000 to just a little bit over $717,000. That's not stability, that's softness. But here's the twist. Even with prices falling, affordability hasn't improved. Let's run the numbers on a $717,000 condo. You put down 20%, your mortgage is roughly $3,180 per month, and that's at today's slightly improved 4.5% interest rate. Now add $600 in maintenance, $250 in property tax, and you're staring down over a $4,000 a month just to hold a unit that might rent for $2,700. And that gap is why investors are sweating and selling. Let's call this for what it is, an investor exodus. Active listings are up 39%. That means people are trying to get out. But here's the kicker. Buyers aren't taking the bait. The resale to new listing ratios is just 25%. What's the translation? Only 1 in 4 listings are actually selling. That's bad. And months of inventory, a key indicator of balance, is now at around 7 months. That's well into buyer's market territory. Usually 4 to 6 months is balanced. Over 6%, that's oversupply. And 7, that's a red flag. Units are sitting longer, price reductions are becoming normal, and sellers are starting to feel it, especially those with renewals on the horizon. Assignments, those pre-con units people bought in 2021, hoping to flip before closing. Yeah, well, many of them are now underwater. We're seeing assignments listed below original purchase price, and they're not moving either. Now let's address the idea that buyers have more options. Yes, technically that's true. Listings are up, but the question is, what kind of listings? 95% of condos sold below asking in June and July. The median price reduction was $17,300. In some areas, it's $50,000 or more. But here's the problem. Even with these discounts, buyers aren't biting because a lot of this inventory is outdated units with high maintenance fees, listings priced as if they're still in 2021, and properties and buildings with litigation or special assessments. So while supply is rising, usable, quality, well-priced supply isn't. And buyers know this because they're more educated now than ever before. And that's why they're sitting on the sidelines. You want to know when the market is in real trouble? Well, when developers, the folks who usually keep their margins and incentives quiet, start panicking in public. Right now in downtown Toronto, developers are offering 2 years of free maintenance, discounts of 5 to 10%, assignment clauses that let you sell before closing at a loss, and in some cases, quiet side deals happening off platform. And here's the bombshell. Developers are now borrowing against their unsold inventory just to stay afloat. That's not strategy, that is survival mode. They're trying to move units before appraisals come in low and buyers back out. This is usually the final phase of a market topping process, and in condos, it's already underway. Let me tell you about someone I heard from last week. We'll just call him Tom. Tom bought a pre-con 1-bedroom in 2021 for $729,000. His occupancy starts this fall. His new mortgage rate, 5.89, and his monthly costs are $4,200. The potential rental income is only $2,750. That's a negative cash flow of $1,450 a month. And if he sells today, he'll take a $60,000 to $80,000 loss before taxes and penalties. He told me, "I feel like I bought a ticking time bomb and no one told me it was live." Tom is not alone in this. So many people were sold a dream and now we're waking up to a nightmare. So let's talk rentals now because that's where the pressure is exploding. Downtown condo rents have flattened. Inventory is spiking as investor units fail to sell. And short-term rental bans in some buildings are flooding long-term supply. Immigration is softening, not surging in core rental areas. So what does this all mean? Well, rents aren't rising fast enough to cover the costs, and with more rental inventory hitting the market from failed listings, it's a supply glut with no safety net. And investors who once depended on Airbnb income are now stuck in long-term leases at reduced rates. And those pre-con investors, well, they are facing new units hitting the market with no tenants in sight. This isn't just a price correction. This is a rental fallout waiting to happen. Everyone loves to say prices are down, but affordability hasn't improved at all. Why? Because borrowing costs are still high. Our wages haven't kept up, and expenses from condo fees to property tax are climbing. When mortgage rates were 2%, you could stretch to make it work. But today, even at 4.5% rate on a $700,000 condo, turns into a $3,800 to $4,200 a month in total carrying costs. That's not affordable, even with the price dip. So here's the best part. Unemployment is rising, job creation has slowed, so how can we expect buyers to take on massive liabilities when their income is uncertain? Affordability is more than a sales price. It's your monthly stress, and right now that stress is climbing. So let's bust a myth. Foreign buyers are not fully banned in Canada. TREB's own CEO confirms it. Exemptions allow foreign buyers to purchase multi-unit buildings with 4 or more units, vacant land, development land, and rural and recreational properties. And why does this matter, you're asking? Because these purchases still stimulate demand indirectly through development, construction, and investor confidence. And it skews local perception of competition. Even when resale activity slows, builders are still moving product to global buyers under those carve-outs. So while everyday Canadians feel the squeeze, capital is still flowing through the back door. If you're buying a condo, don't rush. You have lots of leverage. Use it. Negotiate the price. Closing is flexible, and get everything inspected twice. There's no FOMO here. Listings are piling up. The fall and winter could bring more motivated sellers. Second, if you're an investor, recalculate your numbers. If you're negative, don't sit on denial. Talk to your broker, refinance if possible. If not, consider an exit plan before the next renewal spikes your costs even higher. Third, if you're holding pre-construction, you're on a countdown. Start talking to a real estate lawyer now and understand your assignment options and your exposure. And emotionally, you have to prepare. A 10 to 15% loss today might protect you from possibly 25 to 30% loss later on. So this has opened your eyes. Hit subscribe because I've got more truth bombs coming for you that you don't want to miss. And if you've been watching condo prices like a hawk, drop a comment. Would you sell it if your payment doubled? Or would you ride it out? Or are you going to ride it out? This isn't a collapse yet, but it's a correction with serious underlying cracks. And don't let the headlines mislead you. Look at the data. Look at the incentives. Look at the desperation. Because this isn't about real estate. It's about timing, risk, and survival in the biggest market in the country. If you enjoyed this content in this video, you know what to do. Hit that like, share it with someone sitting on the fence, and subscribe because this is where we keep it real.